ads left and right all over the place. It seems like there's a new one every couple of days. Just saw a new one talking about the immigration issue. You used the phrase the radical left, which surprised me as I saw it. That cannot have been a phrase that came lightly, that you decided easily to say when you're describing people who might otherwise and might still decide to vote for you. Walk me through that process when you're talking about the radical left as a Democrat.
Well, you have extremes on both sides, on the left and on the right, and I represent Indiana. Common sense, hard work, focus on our family, focus on our faith. And so when you see some of these things that have been said by the radical left or the radical right, they just don't connect with who we are, and I wanted people to know that.
It dovetails with what some of the Republican leaders have been calling for in recent days. We've seen confrontation, some of them in the halls of Congress, others out in more public places, restaurants, things like that, that have had Representatives Steve Scalise and others saying Democrats must decry this behavior. What do you take of their calls for you to try to fix it, and are they on to something, and do you agree with them?
Well, and behavior that in any way makes it much more difficult for senators or members of Congress to do their job doesn't make any sense. Screaming at members or screaming at just regular people who come to the Capitol. You know, during the whole discussion of the various issues we've had recently, we still have families coming in who want Capitol tours. My job is to make sure it's done right, done well, that Hoosiers feel welcome, meeting on the steps with high school groups and middle school groups that come in. We're ambassadors for our state. We're ambassadors to the Capitol for everybody from home. And so when people come and when people act in a way that's inappropriate, it's got to be the right way, and it's got to be the right way on both sides.
Do you worry about violence, that it gets to that point more than just rudeness?
Yeah. I've not seen that. You know, people have screamed at me a lot on my way back and forth to the Capitol, and I usually say thanks for letting me know and have an awesome day. But I haven't seen it get to that other level.
Let's talk about something you raised when we looked at the campaign ad opposing you. You mentioned President Trump, and you have been aligned on issues in many cases. You've pointed out that you have, I believe, in more than half of the issues that have come to a vote and then also come to his desk, voted on what would end up being a side that he'd approve of. To those on the left who look at that number and say, well, what's the point if all I'm voting for is two people who are farther right than I am? If Joe Donnelly is actually a Republican with a D next to his name, is that a fair criticism?
Well, it should not be about red or blue. It should be about the red, white, and blue, about our country, about our nation, about making it stronger for our children and our grandchildren. So every decision I make, I don't look at it as a D or an R. It is, what's the right thing to do here? With Justice Gorsuch, voting for him, I looked, he was clearly qualified. He was clearly within the parameters that you give a president to make that decision. You always give the president some leeway because they're the president, they're making that decision. You don't want an extreme on one side or the other, or someone who doesn't seem to be a good fit, but you give the president that leeway. And so I voted with him on that. On other things like right-to-try legislation, we were able to get that done where people are able to get life-saving medications. On things like you know, the Affordable Care Act and being the final deciding vote to keep it in place so that people get coverage for pre-existing conditions, it does matter, because if Mike Braun was there, he would have voted no, and that coverage would have gone away. And so for all of us, I don't know any family where you get everything you want. What you do is you work together to try to make it so that our country, that our nation can be the strongest possible.
Give me a little insight into the Senate in an election year, because things become so focused on broad national issues, especially in a race that's so closely watched nationally as your own. Are things not happening for Indiana that you would like to see happening? Are there issues that you'd say, okay, gang, I'd like to get back to governance at this point?
Well, we're able to get almost everything done. I just met with, a few months ago with the president in regards to tariffs in agriculture, and I'd like to get that done where we can get this wrapped up, find an off-ramp so that our farmers aren't put in jeopardy, that our manufacturers aren't put in jeopardy. And I'm hopeful, I was hopeful we could get it done before the election. I'm very, very hopeful that right after the election, we can sit down as partners, Republicans and Democrats together, and come up with a solution.
Where are you with tariffs right now? I mean, for a long time, that was a word you just didn't hear spoken of very often, and now all of a sudden, it is very much in play.
Yes.
Are you okay with where they are right now, and do you see danger signs down the road?
I see danger signs for our farmers and for our manufacturers in that before we started all this tariff back and forth, the crops were profitable, the numbers were good. Beans were at about $10.80 a bushel. They're now cash price at about $7.90, which is well below the cost of production. So I worry about our family farmers being in a position where they could lose the farm in the next year or so. And that's why I want to make sure we can get this wrapped up for our manufacturers, for our family farmers, that we can put them in a place where they can just focus on running their business the best they can.
You mentioned you'd rather it not be viewed as blue or red, but red, white, and blue. Unfortunately for you, you don't have the ability to decide what the other side is saying and where they're taking things. The name Chuck Schumer has sort of been thrown out there as though it should be viewed as a scarlet letter to you, and that you should be tied inexorably with that name. If you flip the Senate and there needs to be a new Senate Majority Leader, is Chuck Schumer the person who would get your vote?
Well, I'll take a look at whoever the candidates would be. To be honest with you, haven't given the first thought to that, because my job is to make it so that our lives here in Indiana are better. Look, Mitch McConnell is the leader right now, and we're in a position where he's now talking about cutting Social Security and Medicare. I don't want a leader who's going to do that. I don't want a leader who's put us in a position where they try to take health care away. And so those are the kind of issues that are important to me.